everybody, and welcome back to Cozy Cards and Crystals. My name is Joanna, and today I'm going to do a VR to Cosmic Creeper, which is called Oracle Decks with Attitude. And I love this one. I have seen this around all TarotTube on different channels. And I love that it's more focused on Oracle decks since you have a lot of VRs and tags centering around tarot decks. And there's a reason for that because a lot of people love or prefer tarot over oracle decks. And there's a reason for that because most oracle decks, or at least in the beginnings of the oracle deck um, thing and production, a lot of oracle decks centered around more affirmation style decks or are really positive and sugarcoating. And so, don't get me wrong, I have those decks in my collection as well. I use those, and I think there's a reason for them being there. And there are situations and times where we need those. But there is I think the understanding out there or the belief that when you say Oracle deck, those types of decks pop up in your head automatically. And so I love that this tag really centers or gives the spotlight to Oracle decks and gives them a chance. So the decks that I'm showing today are Oracle decks well, first of all, are pretty balanced in shadow and light meanings. And also, there are decks that I found have an attitude to them, which is something different for me than just being balanced in light and shadow. They're sassy, they're cheeky, they're humorous, they're confident. They don't shy away from speaking their truth or speaking out loud what they are thinking, even though they're not concerned about what that would do or how you would feel or think about them if they speak their truth or say their opinion. There are like three categories or subcategories. So the first two decks are more like the humorous ones. The second two decks are more like the cheeky, sassy, quirky, and really confident decks. And the last three that I'm going to show you are the ones that give it straight up and that call out your bullshit. So without further rambling, let's start showing you guys the decks. So as I said, we are starting with the more humorous kind of oracle decks. And the first one that I want to show you is the Affirmators oracle deck, the more general one. And as I talked about this deck in my monthly review, this deck has some really nice humor in it, and I love it for that. So it doesn't shy away from the more challenging stuff or from the things that are in life or that can happen to us. And it will acknowledge that if you have a hard time, or it will still say to you like it is, or what you need to understand or see, even if it makes you uncomfortable. But it sprinkles it with a little bit of humor, of irony. It makes you laugh about yourself or about that problem, at least for a moment, so that it's more easy for you to acknowledge that, to work with it, and to be confronted by it. Especially when you're in a time or in a space where you're super anxious already. It doesn't really help, at least for me, that is the case, when the deck is calling out your bullshit, but does it in a really straightforward and confronting way, because then what happens is it makes me more anxious, and because of that super high anxious state that I'm in, because of that, then um, I can't really work with that shadow or that problem or that fear or whatever it is, or that troubling situation, because I'm too anxious to do anything or to really think about it clearly. And so that sense of humor that is sprinkled in with this deck really makes it more easy to access and to accept, and lowers your anxiety in a way. And so I love it about this deck. And the same with the next deck that I'm going to show you guys, and I won't talk about this too long because this is a German deck and I don't think there's an English version out there. This is called Arsch, vorbei, geht auch, Weg. So what that means is like, don't worry too much about what other people are thinking or saying or could think about you if you do this or that, or what could happen. Because at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. So you can just turn your back on them and be like, well, fuck off. I'm living my life the way I want, and it doesn't matter to me anymore. And that's easier said than done. And so what this deck does is it helps you to to get in that attitude of like, well, the first and foremost, the person that matters in my life the most is myself, and what I need and what makes me happy, and what my values and beliefs are. You don't have to worry too much about or center your whole life around other people and to please them and to please their expectations that they have on you. And it does this with a really easy to access language, a language that we would speak when we talk to each other. It sprinkles some humor with it as well. So it gives you not only these cards, but then you have some other cards that have a little bit more text in there, where it really gives you something to do or a thing, like some advice how you can actually work on that belief or thought pattern or stuff like that, and what you can actually do. And there are also really easy everyday things that you can do or easily integrate in your everyday life. But I love its humor, and I love that it's not afraid to say it like it is, or to use some F words sometimes, and to bring it to the point. Those are my two humorous decks. The next two are my two sassy, really quirky decks. And the first one is the Strange Lands Oracle. And you can already see a little bit also about because of the art style and the artwork that these two are in, what I mean about sassy and quirky and a little bit strange and off. But that is exactly what these decks, what makes them so great and so unique and stand out, and what their attitude is. They don't shy away from shadow meanings or from calling you out, but they're doing it in of their own their own really unique way. And it's not super humorous like with the last two. They're really clear. I mean, we have deceptive here. They are not shying away to give you the truth, even if it's hurtful sometimes. They are not shying away from calling you out. They're really calling you out. But there is a sense of cheekiness and of humor and of maybe even they give you a little bit of a new perspective on a problem or situation. because they think and depict the meanings outside of the usual norm, outside of what you might expect, and the message is oftentimes outside of what you have reckoned with. Um, and so it really makes you think outside of the box. And it's still to the point. It's like it gives you an aha moment. And I really love that about this one. And the other one that feels pretty similar is the Vessel Oracle. And this one has also a pretty unique art style, and sometimes even a pretty confronting art style in a way, because it's not all prettied up and smoothed out, and but it's pretty straightforward and strange and raw in a way. And you have some harder topics or cards in here, like this one, anxiety. It feels pretty fiery, as well as the Strange Lands Oracle. Fear, and I mean, you can really feel it almost when you look at this image. Defeat. So I really love these two decks because of their uniqueness, because of their sassiness, their outside of the box thinking and delivering of the message, and their rawness and their fiery energy. Let's talk about the last three decks. So the first one that I want to talk about, that is the most like I have described in my last sentence, like it gives it to you how it is, straight to the point, really clear and direct, with no excuse, no sugarcoating, nothing, is the Soul's Journey lesson cards. And this one actually surprised me that it is an oracle with attitude, because um, when I first, and this is the German version, but there is a English version out there as well, mass market. When I first had this deck or seen this deck and got this deck, it was for me like, or what I have expected, it was pretty different to what it actually is. I haven't expected it to be a deck with attitude. I have expected it to be more like a classic, or what we think about an oracle deck traditionally is, like a more uplifting, especially with it having a mandala on each card, and also underneath the keyword a little phrase to go with that, a little key phrase, that it would be more neutral. But this deck, man, this has attitude. The last time I've used it, it really called out my bullshit with no excuse, with no, not even an attempt to what would, if I'm in that state of actually receiving and working with the message, or if I'm not able to work with that message. Because of my emotional state that I was in, it just confronted me with some really difficult, confronting, almost harsh messages. And at that time, I needed those messages, yes, but the way it delivered it to me was like, girl, those are the messages. I don't care how you're going to work through this. I don't care if you're in an emotional state right now to be able to deal with it. I'm just saying how it is, and the rest is your problem. So that was that one. Another one that is mass market, that is a little bit different, but it's also calling you out, is the Heal Yourself reading cards. This deck is also calling you out, and this deck is more calling you out. It's not focusing so much on a situation that is surrounding you, but it's focusing more on what's going on you or within you internally, or on aspects of you, characteristics of you, um, things that you need to do or need to acknowledge or work through or change about yourself, than like situations that are problematic or difficult with your life. And so it's really calling you out on your bullshit in terms of, you know that you have this character trait, you know that you have this habit or this belief system or thinking or acting behavior, and you know that that is bullshit, and that that belief or behavior isn't going to help you move forward or progress in your life, and you know that you need to change that or work on that, or that that specific habit or character trait of yours is the problem within that situation. So don't ignore it, but face it, and don't talk yourself out of it, because that won't solve the problem. And so this is its attitude. And the last one, and I think there is not one VR that I did where this deck didn't come up for me, and for a good reason, because this is one of my favorite decks, or at least Oracle decks, and it probably will be forever. This is an independent publishing. It's called the Naked Truth Oracle deck. You can get it on Etsy, and as always, I will have a link to all of the decks that I have shown here in the video description down below, so that you can check them out on your own and can easily find them. At least with the indie decks. With the mass market, I'm not sure if I'm going to put links in there, because I live in Germany, and so the Amazon link, for example, will be from the German Amazon, and so I don't know if that will help you guys if you're in America. For example, in the United States or Canada or anything like that. Um, but those mass market decks you can easily get on your own and find in your bookstore, in your favorite metaphysical store. So it's totally up to you where you're going to get it. But with the indie decks, I will definitely have a link down in the description box below. Also running right now, this deck is called the Naked Truth because of the pretty obvious reason. So if you have an issue with seeing nudity or naked people, then this deck isn't for you, and I would recommend to skip forward to the end or just stop watching the video. But a more deeper reason is because it will tell you the naked truth, and you can already see that it is a pretty balanced deck. There are almost an equal amount of really confronting or difficult themes and topics and keywords as they are more neutral or positive keywords. And what this one also does is it gives you different aspects of that keyword on the card to look at, that problem or issue or challenge. And it also gives you a little potion down here for each of the keywords. That will tell you how to best approach this or work through this. And I love it for that. And so it gives you the naked truth. It shows you how it is. Doesn't matter if you find it beautiful or not, or if it's your taste or not. But this one, out of all of them, is maybe the ones in the beginning in the humor category are maybe even a little bit more comfortable and compassionate. But besides those two humor decks, this one is maybe the most gentlest and compassionate one. out of all the other 5 decks or 4 decks that I've shown you, which doesn't mean it's gentle. By all means, it's not. But out of the Oracle decks with attitude, this has attitude, and it will tell you the truth, and it won't shy away from confronting you with your own bullshit. But it does so in a more like I'm holding your hand and I will walk the path through, or the path through healing and through moving through that with you or by your side. And while I'm holding your hand and we're walking that path together, I will tell you how it is, and I will confront you with your stuff and your problems. But I'm still there to support you through that bullshit. And so this is one of my absolute favorite Oracle decks there is out there. So this is my Oracle with Attitude VR. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful for you, or at least a little bit of entertaining in a way. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And I would love to hear from you guys. What are your oracles with attitudes? Are you an oracle fan, or are you more like the believer of, well, I don't like oracles because they're all too light washed for me? Maybe I could prove you wrong or show you that there are decks out there that are oracles, but they're also pretty balanced and show the life how it is with shadow and light. If you have done this VR also, and let me know down in the comments as well so I can watch it. I really love the VRs that I have seen so far. And also thank you to Cosmic Creeper again to shift our focus a little bit and our approach to Oracle decks with this great tag. So thank you for watching. Until next time. Bye!